So today, as we start blessings and prayers, we're going to divert a little bit into something a little different than we usually do because, as we mentioned, this is an interspecies community, and we have lost one of our co-founder issues. And so I want to invite Victoria to come and speak a little bit about Forbes as we get started today.
Thank you, Reverend Sarah. Before I start to talk about Forbes, I do want to acknowledge that the animal rights community lost a champion in the past week, and that is Sherry Kolb. You know Sherry if you read one of her books like Beating Hearts, Veganism, and Abortion, or also Mind If I Eat the Cheeseburger? Answering the questions that vegans are often asked. So I was at Sherry's memorial service this morning, and someone said that she was the closest to a perfect person that they had ever known. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about that, I recommend Mind If I Order the Cheeseburger. So now I do want to turn to the family member that William and I lost this month, and that is Forbes. And you can see him here. I thought I would pick a couple of spiritual pictures. One, he's praying, the other, he's doing yoga, because he was that kind of dog. When I met Forbes, he was in a cage at an adoption event. He was skinny and scruffy, suffering from heartworm disease. But when I took him out to walk him, I kept hearing a quotation from Charlie Chaplin. Chaplin had said, "To believe in yourself, that's the secret." When I was in the orphanage, when I was on the streets trying to get something to eat, I saw myself as the greatest actor in the world. That was the exact energy that I got from Forbes. He was so sure that he was magnificent. And I would go as far as to say he was so sure that he was divine that I just couldn't take my eyes off him. I couldn't take my mind off him. And he pretty much said, "If you take me home, you're never going to regret it." So we did, William and I. And we found that he became our healer, was an incredible empath. We called him Dr. Forbes. He was our best friend, but he was also our son. He loved being in a two-parent family because whenever we would walk him down the hall and the two of us were together, he would look behind him. And a minute or so later, he'd look behind again. He wanted to make sure that we were all there. So some people have said, well, why did you name him Forbes? It was because we had a pretty good idea that he was one of the 500 best dogs. So Forbes really fit. Now, we are urban people. And yes, Forbes liked going to the park and the dog runs, but he really liked Marshalls and Bed Bath and Beyond. He liked hotels. He liked buses and taxis and subways. And whenever he was on public transportation, everybody wanted to just get their hands on him. And even though I'm a dog petter myself, I didn't really understand this almost fighting need to get through a crowd to get a hand on this dog. And I learned what that was about at the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. I went there in 2015, and it happened to be the period when they bring out a holy relic that supposedly touched Jesus the Christ. And I didn't really believe it was really that, but just in case, I stood in line for 3 hours with hundreds of other people to just get close to this thing and touch the case it was in. Because if maybe it touched him, I knew that touching that case would be important for me. When I came back home and everybody wants to touch Forbes, I got it. That when somebody is so pure and so connected to their divine essence, all the rest of us think, just let me touch that for an instant and I'll be healed too. Forbes healed a lot of people. And I certainly wish in the end that we had been able to heal him. We didn't even know he was sick. We thought he had hurt his back a little bit. But what happened was he had a very aggressive cancer and he was gone after 12 days. He lived absolutely fully up to his very last moment. And I promised him that I would do that too. And William, I know, has made promises to Forbes as well, because we were a threesome of soulmates, that's for sure. Rest in peace, Forbes, friend, healer, New Yorker.